The fact it took me 11 years to become an overnight success should also reassure him. Elston, one of my favorite writers. Some of the best advice that was not intended to be advice I've ever read. Hey guys, Elston here, co-writer, co-creator of Rabbit's Badass Song, co-owner of Flash Delirium. So that little intro, we're gonna get back to that in a minute. But this segment, I just want to do something a little different. I just want to talk to you guys, the creators. We're all at different levels. We're all doing different things. And this doesn't necessarily have to be just for independent comics. It could go for being a musician, could be a filmmaker, anything, just writing a novel. But yeah, this is just for the artists this time. And there's been a lot of videos talking about how to get through the tough times. And again, I mean by that, struggling as an artist, finding your voice, finding an audience, having some amount of success where you're just not being broke all the time. Even when you do find some of success, wherever that is, you get a deal with maybe a publisher, you publish your own book, you start getting a following. Most of us, if not all of us, have times of just utter despair because this is very hard to do. And the ironic part about it is, in today's environment, it's a lot easier to get things done just because technology has caught up with the times. You can make a lot of stuff on your phone. You know, you can get like your average laptop, write a story, put together a comic book. It's a lot easier now than it was 20 years ago. All these things are very accessible. But at the same time, there's a lot of us doing these things. And there's just a lot of content out there now. There's just no other way to put it. There's a lot of content. And things get buried. Some things take time. And I know we all have just those points where we're like, damn, you know, is this ever gonna go beyond what it is now? And a prime example. So going back to the comic book thing, a lot of us are indies and we have books out. And some of us have several books out, or a few of us have a few out, or just have one out. And we've seen people do very phenomenal Kickstarters and Indiegogo campaigns, like I've said in the past. They're building a following online. People seem to like their stuff. Word's getting out. But it seems we all kind of hit this wall where, and when I say that, I mean it like this. I believe we all want to aspire to be great. We want our stories to be seen on the biggest scale possible. We want things to last. You know, a lot of us, we want our properties to be a big toy line or a big budget movie or a hot streaming TV show, t-shirts, whatever. We all want that. And I know a lot of us get to the point where, damn, I can only do this. Like the book's getting put out or whatever, but it's not getting to that next level. Am I always gonna have to just settle for this? Is my book ever gonna be the next big thing? Or I don't want to say next big thing, that's a little arrogant. You know, will it be able to compete and sustain a long life like the properties we've all come to know? And that's a tough question. And that's something we all have to ask ourselves. And it kind of goes back to why do we want to do this in the first place? And I believe, you know, there are different parts to that, but I think the main reason is our love for the medium, our love for this creating stuff, being inspired to create art, being able to have a voice, you know, through our art, and hopefully others will like it as well. But then we all know this stuff gets expensive. It costs money, even if you're doing everything yourself. Even probably more valuable than money is time. And there's some people who spend years upon years just writing stuff, and some people never put it out just because they're afraid. They're afraid of getting rejected, afraid of getting critiques. All of these are just, you know, very, you know, real and very natural insecurities. You know, we all have them. We all you know, worry and have doubt. But as a creator to other creators out there, I think we should not let that hold us down, no matter how bad things may get. I mean, when I say bad, I mean just if you feel like there's just no other way, like this stuff is just not expanding, you always got to look at what the main goal was to begin with. So like for us, for example, again, we're very small. You know, I mean, people know about our book and we're very happy, but I think the biggest satisfaction we've got is the fact that we have people saying we're fans. We're fans of your book. You know, for fans, that just the fact that one person likes your stuff, that should mean a lot. And put it into perspective like this. Nobody's ever really said it to me like this. I want to say it to you guys is, all right, people may buy your book off a crowdfunding campaign, or if you have it in the stores, they may pick it off the shelf. They chose your thing over something else. Instead of maybe them picking up that other book from another publisher, they took a chance on your book. And I'm not talking about, you know, your friends and the family that knows about your stuff. I'm talking about the complete stranger, somebody who has no affiliation with you, they know nothing about you. It's just merely off of the product itself. And that should be a good feeling. You know, one of our favorite things is we actually have people that wants the book as a pull list in some comic book shops now. And that's just amazing. You know, the only bummer about that is I wish I could get it to them on a more steadier basis, which, you know, I talked about that in the last video, just how hard it is to get a book out in a traditional time set. But these are the things we have to think about, you know. And I'm going to go, this is going to be actually a continuation, again, like how the last video kind of like connects with this. The next one also connects with this with social media platforms. So I will talk about social media a little bit in this video, but that will probably be the next big one. I will talk about the different social media platforms, how they all are very beneficial. But what I did want to bring up now is, you know, even to myself, you know, you look at like, dang, I only got like 10 likes on this kick-ass picture, but you know, what the heck? I try to remember that just because somebody likes something online or they may comment or share, that does not translate into sales or a following. And that's something I think we all have to realize. Don't get caught up in the illusion. And again, it's good. I mean, you feel good. I guess it does look good as a package. Or okay, I got like 20,000 followers and I drop anything, they're just like, boom, they're flooding to it. But the real thing is, okay, what are you selling? Like, who's actually really talking about your product, you know, giving you reviews, reviewing the book and stuff. That's really what's more important as a creator. And we got to remember these things, you know, that who's really looking at this stuff. And that's got to be something that you know, want out of this. And again, like, it's a self-gratification of just creating something. That's, you know, that's another thing. All right, I created this, it's out there. So there is that. But going forward, okay, what can I do to get this to the next level? And that's where we all kind of are at right now. Is, all right, what else is it going to take? And honestly, things take time. What I believe now, or what I've always, I shouldn't say believe now, what I've always wanted and believe is, okay, so far as the story goes, like right now we're creating our story. We're about three issues in. We pretty much got the whole thing laid out. People are starting to see it, notice it now. No matter what, long as I can finish the story. Because again, like, it may take years, and that's something we all got to realize. It could take years for your stuff to really be what you are wanting it to be, all right? But you got to lay out the foundation. You got to finish the story, no matter the cost, no matter what it takes. You know, for us, when we do the crowdfunding route and all that, our main objective is to make enough to get the next book done. That's it, you know, so it's there. And once the book is there, I can start, showing people. Like, again, we funded the first couple books ourselves. We did a very large print run on issue 1 for a couple reasons. It was cheaper for us to do it that way. And we knew some would get damaged. Some always can, we sell those, and a lot of the bad ones, I can hand them out as samples and stuff. So that's something I can always do, because there's many people that know about our stuff. There are thousands who don't, and that's what you guys got to realize too. There's always an audience, always new people out there you can expose this thing to. And you got to try different stuff out. You can't compare yourself. I know I've seen that online too a lot. People say, well, why is this person getting all this hits and stuff, and I'm not, and I'm just as great and stuff. Well, that's not, you can't look at it like that, because it's not about that. Always be supportive of your other indie creators, because if one person's successful, we technically are all successful, because that's proof that people still care about comics. Don't look at it like, oh, my thing's better or my thing's worse. Why didn't they like my thing? That's the most silliest shit I've ever heard, because that's what anything in life. Some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi, whatever. But you got to keep it going and just focus on your craft. It will find an audience. If it's truly meant to be, you'll find an audience. And just finish the story. So, for us, our story's a little longer, so it's going to take quite a while. And there's parts we can kind of stop at. If it ever comes a point where we just can't keep the book going for a little while. If we can just get so many, because with us, like our thing are arcs. So after so many issues, that one's done, but it's a continuation. So we did that intentionally, just in case, life happens, whatever. So at least we got the first 12 issues. This is a complete story. Check it out. And if you like this, well, we got a whole nother thing going. And that's the way I look at it. Just don't get discouraged, don't get frustrated, because we all do. I mean, I have my days like, dang, is this even worth it anymore? I mean, when we did the Rabbit book, there was a time I was like, it's taking so much to do, and the money stuff it takes to do this and the time. I'm like, why don't we just not do this? Let's just do it as a book. We talked about that. We could just write it as a book and just put it, at least the story's done and exists. And that's still an option, but I said, no, I can't do that. And I've had some friends who say, no, don't do that. Keep the book going. People like it. You just got to keep pushing forward. And that's why we're still doing it now. And because of that, we've gotten more people on board of this thing. And that's what I want you guys to think about as well. You got to just stick with this stuff. And always, be realistic with yourself too. You got to look at, your own property. Really look at it. And does it satisfy you, first of all? Are you happy with this thing? Don't force it. Don't try to appease everybody, because you can't appease everybody. No matter how great it is, somebody's not going to like it. All right, you take that. Then that's why it's good to test it out. You got to show people these things and see the feedback. And you're going to get negative feedback, you're going to get positive feedback, you're going to get constructive criticism. But if you want to be a professional about this, you got to take all that in success accordingly. It's okay. This works in this doesn't work in this. We can change this. Some people like this stuff, whatever, and just keep going. I think it's also important for us as independent creators is to really utilize the supporting of each other. And what I mean by that is, and again, I'm guilty of this myself. When Disney Plus drops a new TV show or there's a new cool movie coming out, I've seen threads upon threads dedicated talking about how great it is. We see people getting debates about this stuff. Yeah, we see people drop indie cool stuff all the time, and a couple people may say something or they just make it like and move on. How can you expect this stuff, anybody, to get bigger if we just keep on focusing on stuff that's already been established? Or just the person that has a pretty cool campaign dropping, when we see people going out buying a ticket to the next Marvel movie or whatever, and they're not, they can spend a fraction of that just as supporting this one guy that or lady they may like a lot. Just little things like that. Because we are a community. We have to grow as a community as well and to support each other. Age is another thing we all deal with. A lot of us are in our 30s, early to mid 40s, maybe even 50 years old. And I know that has to weigh heavy on a lot of our minds. Like, are we getting too old for this stuff? And it's not a young person sport. We can't say that, because everybody's going to be different. And there's a lot of people who've been successful in their later years. I personally think that I'm 42-year-old Chris can do comics. 20-year-old Chris wouldn't have made it. I just had a lot of growing up to do in this life experience. And, things have changed so much, from a lot of us that grew up on the stuff in the 90s especially. The early days of Image and seeing these guys do these amazing books, and we all wanted to do books. A lot of us are in high school, drawing our little characters out, getting with friends, doing our own little books, hoping to one day meet Tom McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and then get on board with Image. Then, a lot of other publishers came like Chaos Comics and She and all these cool independent books, and that was just a different time. What they did then can happen now for our success, but the process is entirely different. Primarily because of just social media and everything, and it's just more, everything's more accessible now. You can link up with artists over in Japan or Italy or something, just by a click of a button. Whereas back in those days, you were literally restricted to just either you did the art or somebody locally you knew. So, we have a lot more diversity now. So that's something else we got to look at. That's very beneficial to all of us. And just think about like the days of Wizard magazine and just hoping, reading those little articles and hoping we got our books in there and stuff. That was stuff that kind of helped us grow. I mean, as far as our love for comic books. That's why even now, despite, I know there's a lot of controversies now with people selecting different sides and opinions on books. At the end of the day, it's all about the book. If the book is good, the book is good. And that should always be the main focal point of anything, as far as the independent comic book scene goes. And learning, just making mistakes. I never think making mistakes or failing at something is bad. Actually, I think it's good, because how can you ever learn or grow if you've never made a mistake or seen error? I think we're all wanting to aspire to be better writers, better artists, all that. So that's something else to take into consideration, when you're doing your projects. And maybe it doesn't work quite well yet. You just got to craft a little bit more. Even with, I know some people that do the campaigns, some didn't make their first campaign. And, there was reasons behind it, and they took that in and reevaluated things. Then the next campaign, these guys are doing triple digit numbers and stuff, just because they took the time to learn. They didn't let the failure or the mistakes ruin their dreams or their ambition. And that's something else we have to constantly think about. It's always about just improving and just being humble about things, and more or less having fun. If we're not having fun doing this stuff, don't do it. If it gets to the point where it's stressful, and again, I'm not talking about like, okay, I gotta fill these orders for my Kickstarter reward stressful, or we're like 2 days behind on print. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being hard on yourself as far as trying to make this thing be bigger, because that's not fair to yourself. You gotta have fun, and remember why you, again, going back to what I said earlier, remember why you originally did this. I think fandom has just expanded so much now that that's kind of affected us also as an audience, as far as just being a creator and stuff, because there's just so much out there now, and a lot of stuff that we read about, read as kids and stuff, now is on the silver screen. Stuff like, who'd have thought that Rocket Raccoon would be just as popular as Wolverine now? It's just surreal how things change. And that's the last thing, going back to how things just take time. Like I said earlier in the video, that line about it took 11 years to be overnight success. That's very important, and we all should remember that. Just because, some people are, I guess you can't say overnight success, and they may break numbers and all that. But always remember, nothing's a fairy tale. There's always stories behind how things happen. Not saying that they did anything wrong. I'm just saying it's never, the grass ain't always green on the other side. You just don't know the whole story. But be supportive and happy that people do make it, because it helps us all out. But took Kate Bush 30 years to run up that hill to make her millions right now. Hope it doesn't take that long for you guys to get stuff going, successful. But you know what I'm saying. It just takes time. Stick with it. As long as you can keep it going, far as like, if you can get a Kickstarter going and just keep get enough funding to keep your project completed, that's what you need to worry about. Things are organic. Just be true to yourself. Be inventive. Be creative. You can be. What I've learned lately is it's not only being creative with creating the book. It's being creative with your marketing, creative with how you present yourself on social media. All that stuff is very important. But yeah, I just want to sit down and have a talk with you guys. I know we're all, dealing with certain things in this comic industry. We're all, everybody's the same, no matter how successful we are or whatnot. I think we all pretty much go through the same things. But that's it for this video. Next video, I'll be delving more into social media platforms, how each one is very beneficial for different reasons, and how you can utilize all of them. But as always, hope you like the video. Like, share, subscribe. And Rabbit's Badass Song, issue 3, drops on Kickstarter September 6th. I really hope you guys give it a chance if you haven't already, and sign up below. All right, later.